Oh, for a beaker full of the warm south, full of the warm beaker full of the warm south, full of the warm beaker full of the warm south, full of the true, blushful, hippocrene, blushful, the true, blushful, hippocrene, full of the true, blushful, hippocrene, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim and purple stained mouth, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim and purple stained mouth, with beaded bubbles full of the warm south, full of the true, blushful, hippocrene, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim and purple stained mouth, that I might drink beaded bubbles full of the warm south, full of the true, blushful, hippocrene, with beaded bubbles full of the warm south, full of the true, blushful, hippocrene, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim and purple stained mouth, that I might drink full of the warm south, full of the true, blushful, full of the warm south, full of the true, blushful, full of the warm south, full of the true, blushful, hippocrene, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim and purple stained mouth, that I might drink beaded bubbles winking at the brim and purple stained mouth, that I might drink full of the true, blushful, hippocrene, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim and purple stained mouth, that I might drink full of the true, blushful, hippocrene, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim and purple stained mouth. Oh, for a beaker full of the warm south, full of the true, blushful, hippocrene, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim and purple stained mouth. Oh, for a beaker full of the warm south, full of the true, blushful, hippocrene, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim and purple stained mouth, that I might drink and leave the world unseen, and with thee fade away into the forest dim, that I might drink and leave the world unseen, and with thee fade away into the forest dim. Why did I laugh tonight? No voice will tell. No god, no demon of severe response deigns to reply from heaven or from hell. Then to my human heart I turn at once. Heart, thou and I are here, sad and alone. Say, wherefore did I laugh? O mortal pain, O darkness, darkness, ever must I moan to question heaven and hell and heart in vain. Why did I laugh? I know this being's lease, my fancy to its utmost blisses spreads.
Yet could I on this very midnight cease, and the world's gaudy ensigns see in shreds. Verse, fame, and beauty are intense indeed, but death intenser. Death is life's high meed. Ever let the fancy roam, pleasure never is at home. This grave contains all that was mortal of a young English poet, who on his deathbed, in the bitterness of his heart, at the malicious power of his enemies, desired these words to be engraved on his tombstone. Here lies one whose name was writ in water. February 24th, 1821. Alongside this grave is another grave inscribed to the memory of Joseph Severn, devoted friend and deathbed companion of John Keats, whom he lived to see numbered among the immortal poets of England. Died 3 August 1879, aged 85.